Have you ever been in a conversation where you started speaking with a prospect and then all of a sudden you saw the prospect's eyes glaze over, they got bored, they started checking their phone, or maybe you're on Zoom and you're trying to watch them, but you know because you can see a reflection off their glasses or off something in the background that they're doing other tasks? Well, in this video, I'm going to show you how to squash that. I'm also going to give you 18 momentum building sales questions that you can put into your business today, right now, to use and never ever let that happen again. What's up, FlowChat connector? Sean back at you here with another high-ticket FlowChat sales training tip for you. This is a pro tip. This one served me so super well. We had a question that came in direct from Henry. Henry said this: Sean, I have trouble engaging my prospects when I talk. Any pro tips I can use to engage my prospect more? The answer is absolutely yes, Henry. There is definitely that experience. I remember so many conversations when I first started my selling career where I would get into a convo and next thing you know, I would be spouting out about features and benefits and this and that and trying to get engagement, and it just never worked. I would try to say one thing or next thing, and I wasn't quite understanding exactly how to do it. It wasn't until I met Russell Brunson that I learned a totally prolific pro tip for myself, and then I doubled back and I was looking through some of my sales resources, and I actually found the same thing in a different format for one-to-one sales. Now, Russell obviously teaches one-to-many using funnel strategies, using stage speaking strategies, podcasting, and a bunch of other traffic methods, and I'm the guy that's been in the one-to-one sales game for like 30 years. So there's some minor differences. I wanted to cover those today. I think that'll be valuable for you. But at the same time, I wanted to share these momentum building sales questions that you can put in your business today that will truly, truly help you. So with that said, Henry, stay tuned. I'm excited about this one. So we are going to dive right into momentum building sales questions. This one's going to be valuable. Okay. I want to start by sharing a story with one of my coaches, Russell Brunson directly. And when we joined the inner circle about 5 years ago, we went, and at the time I was pretty good at sales. I'd closed a lot of stuff, but I didn't know marketing and I didn't know kind of the one-to-many approach. And I remember watching Russell sitting up on the inner circle stage, and he was sharing. The inner circle is a group of like 100 people where they pay an exorbitant amount of money to be in the room each and every year to connect with those people and also to learn from some of the best minds in business. And when Russell was on stage and he was sharing some stuff in front of this small group of really, really elite entrepreneurs, one of the things he shared was this really cool story that I want to try to replicate and share. And how he said it was, his very first stage presentation, because we're talking about stage speaking, and his very first stage presentation, he gets up on the stage and he goes into how to build a funnel. And he went deep and he went everything you needed to know, step by step, very methodical, like paint by numbers. This is exactly how you do a funnel. This is the results that you can get. And at the end of the presentation, when he was hoping that all these people were going to go buy his stuff, nobody got up out of the room. And it was as if everybody had almost fallen asleep. And Russell couldn't understand why this happened. And then he went and he was talking to one of his mentors and he said, watch this, Russell. And he went out on the stage, his mentor, and he started dialing in a little bit of a different languaging pattern. But all of a sudden he saw the whole crowd like fully engaged, nodding their heads yes, up and down, like moving forward in the direction. And at the end of his mentor's presentation, everybody in the room got up and ran to the back and bought something. And Russell was like, how did that even happen? And his mentor was like, well, there's these things called momentum building sales questions, and you can actually trickle them into your presentation. And when I heard this, I remembered Tom Hopkins. Tom Hopkins talked about this like years and years and years ago. And so after that meeting, I went home and I opened up one of my Tom Hopkins books, and boom, it was right there. It was actually on page 39 of a low profile selling book that I found from him. And I just immediately had this massive epiphany. I said, man, if I'm doing these live webinars, or I'm doing this stage speaking, or I'm even doing a podcast, or I'm doing any sort of speaking event, even if it's one-to-one, I need to add this strategy into my business. And so the strategy is called a tie down. And so let me share in the sales, this is sales terminology now. So we're moving from stage speaking into one-to-one. A tie down is a question at the end of a sentence that demands a yes answer. And so Russell and his mentor were talking about this, and his mentor said, when I say this, you see the crowd start to bob their head yes, right? So that's what demands a yes answer. And so here's a quick example so you can see. If we're talking about cost control as an example, we could say, to a prospect, if we're in the convo, hey, cost control is very important today. And it could be a factual statement. It could be a true statement. Problem is your prospect hears that and says, okay, that's info in, info out. Yeah, cost control is very important today. Here's how you take this sentence and you turn it into an engaging sentence, right? Cost control is very important today, isn't it? And so now the words isn't it are the tie down for this exact question. And now we've taken it from a statement and we've turned it into a question, which creates a two-way conversation. So two things kind of happen. Number one, it forces your prospect to say yes, right? A tie down is a question at the end of a sentence that demands a yes answer. Cost control is very important today, isn't it? Yes. And then when someone says yes, they typically start bobbing their head like this. And so what I do is I trickle in these magic 18 different tie downs. So here's what they all are. Check it out. So tie downs you can use today. I'll just click through all of them and we can walk through them. So wouldn't it, wasn't it, isn't it, haven't they, aren't they, isn't that right, couldn't it, wouldn't, won't they, didn't he, hasn't he, aren't you, don't we, shouldn't it, won't you, doesn't it, hasn't she, can't you, don't you agree? All of a sudden, when you start, and so here's don't do this on every sentence, okay? So you need to drip some fact, but you also need to drip some tie down. And when you're talking in your conversation and you make a very critical point, typically I'll do this, I would say maybe every 5 to 6 sentences that I say, I'll drop one of those things and I'll just make sure that somebody's engaged with me. If I'm doing like a presentation on, our stuff, like our software, for example, they're like, importing is pretty important, isn't it? Yeah, it is. That's amazing. And now all of a sudden the prospect's like, yes, I get it, right? So take a snapshot of this page. I'll just actually, let me make it full screen so you can take the snapshot. There we go. Use these things in your conversational flow. I promise you, when you do this, like you're going to see some massive results. And what happens is, so hopefully you've taken a screenshot of that. What happens is your prospects are going to be like, man, that conversation was so engaging and it won't ever feel salesy. Why? Because you're instantly including your prospect in almost every single thing that you're saying. And when you do this, oh my God, like watch what happens. You're going to get yes momentum. Those people will remember the conversation. They'll come back. They'll say it was a delight speaking with you. It never felt salesy. And yes, here's my credit card. I'm going to buy something from you. And that, my friends, is how you can use the 18 standard tie downs so you can get the heads bobbing yes and saying yes to the things that you're saying. Because if you use facts, like it's windy out today, isn't it? Or haven't they? So you can say those dudes are doing a great job in your business, aren't they? Right? Or whatever, any one of these tie downs you can use at any time. And I can promise you this will tremendously help a lot. We got someone saying, hey, Sean Malone, what's up? Good to see you. Thank you for being here today. And don't forget, smash that like button if this was valuable for you. Please use this in your business today. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel. With that said, I can't wait to see you next time. Have a wonderful Thursday. Go close some deals.